Text Prince Store family, y'all big salute. It's your boy Tim Snow right here, and I got a good one for you. It's going to be about Lee Taylor from Galveston. Lee Taylor was the same age as me, maybe a little bit older, and I remember personally when all this happened. And I tell you what, his story is tragedy from beginning to end, and a good lesson on why you kids don't want to take things from people and why it's just not a good idea to rob people. You don't want to do it in this world. When Lee Taylor was 16, him and one of his friends robbed somebody in Channelview, Texas. And if you're from this area, you know Channelview is the east side of Houston, and Galveston is down here a little bit southeast. And Lee Taylor was actually a resident of Galveston when it happened, so I'm not sure why he was up there in Channelview. Maybe one of his friends, family, who knows. But at 16 years old, Lee Taylor and his friend robbed somebody, and the man that he robbed died. Like there was some violence going on. Apparently he hurt the guy, and the older man passed away. The woman still lived. So at 16 years old, Lee Taylor got certified as an adult in Texas and received a life sentence for aggravated robbery. And that's where he started at that young age. Look, in court, for Lee Taylor's court, his lawyer said, Lee Andrew Taylor's childhood was fraught with physical abuse, mental illness, neglect, instability, sexual abuse, substance abuse, and prolonged exposure to traumatic events. So young Lee had a rough life, y'all. Grew up rough, seen a lot of stuff he shouldn't have seen. Probably got started young, came off the porch young, obviously. And he had a rough life. Okay, it talks about Lee getting addicted to drugs at a young age and then doing that robbery. The robbery was in 1995. John Hampton was his victim, and Taylor was 16 when it happened. He pled guilty. Taylor said, I did something real atrocious when I was a kid, and I lost my life along with them. It's a bad tragedy for all of us. Taylor said he spent 3.5 years living on the streets before that happened. So think about it. At 16, he had already been living on the streets for 3.5 years. I was at 12.5 when the man started being on his own. So, you know, in this world, y'all, it's a vicious world. When a young guy steps out at 12, yeah, he's going to have a lot of problems and things. People are going to try to take advantage of him and all kind of things. So I'm setting this to say Lee was no saint. Not at all. He was not a saint. He lived a rough life and came up living on the Houston streets, man. Galveston, Houston streets. So here he comes at 16. He gets his life sentence, okay? And Lord, that must have been overwhelming. When they give Lee his life sentence, that puts him in the category of G3 in Texas. I mean, Miss Larry talked a little bit about G3. G3 status is how my big brother was, and he went down. And I don't know if other states have this or not. I don't know. G3 status in Texas means every man on that cell block has 50 years or more, and none of them have been there at least 10. So they literally have cell blocks full of guys with 50 years plus, and all of them are just beginning their time. Everybody's still aggravated. Everybody's still stressed out, still trying to appeal their cases. It's a horrible spot. And in the prisons, most of the violence come from them G3 wings, man. Close custody and medium custody, that type of stuff. So literally, when Lee got his sentence, they sent Lee to Telford Unit. Telford Unit is one of the hardest units in Texas. It's notorious. And when I say notorious, it's notorious. If you know anybody from Texas, ask them about Telford Unit, some of the stuff that went on over there. When they placed Lee in his housing on the cell block, there was only one other white guy there. The entire cell block was Hispanic and black. Okay. Of course, Lee goes into the cell with the other white guy, and that white guy was ABT, an official member. Okay, he does what he's supposed to do. He brings Lee in. Lee got official. He joined the ABT. And it was just two of them, man. Now listen, check this out. Disregards of race or gangs, politics, or any of that. Anytime it's just two men alone against everybody, those two men lock in tighter. They love each other. They become close. And they'll do anything for each other usually. And that's kind of what happened here. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, they got robbed, it said. Everything we find said the black guys ran in their cell. Don't know who. Don't know which one. We don't know. Okay? But they got their cell ran in on. Got their stuff taken. And in a situation like that, guys, if somebody runs in your cell and takes your things in a maximum security prison and you do not say anything, you do not stand up, you do not take your stuff back, you just became a punk. You became the weakest person in the prison, and you're a lifetime victim now. Because you let one man steal from you, everybody will start doing it. And I guess they were not willing to be those victims, y'all. And that's where the story gets cold. They say when Lee and his cellie locked down that night, they just made their plans, man. And I can tell you personally, they probably did not sleep that night. They probably were pumping each other up so damn much, you know what I mean? Like, they were so scared of what was fixing to happen, and they were about to do it anyway. And that's got to be a terrible feeling, y'all. Terrible feeling. And I'm actually going to read to you now the real report. So this ain't Tim Snow talking. This is going to be what really happened, okay? Okay, here I go, y'all. This is his official execution report. Lee Andrew Taylor, 32, was executed by lethal injection on 16 June 2011 in Huntsville, Texas, for the murder of a fellow prison inmate. In November 1995, Taylor, then 16, beat an elderly man and woman during the robbery of their home. The man, 79 years old, John Hampton, subsequently died in the hospital. Taylor was convicted of aggravated robbery and sentenced to life in prison. On 31st of March 1999, in the Telford State Prison in Bowie County, some property was stolen from the cell of inmate Daniel Richburg from inmate Dante Green. On April 1st, as some of the inmates were leaving their cells to go to breakfast, Taylor, then 20, walked past Green, then turned around and struck him with a fist. Taylor then grabbed Green and held him in a headlock. While he was holding him in a headlock, he stabbed him in the chest 13 times with an 8-inch ice pick. Meanwhile, while this was happening, Richburg brandished his own knife and was waving it around, telling people they better not interfere. And that's what you get for stealing. The prosecution asserted that in addition to the theft incident, Green's killing was the product of racial tension. Taylor was a member of the ABT while Green was black. I'm going to stop right there for a second. You're damn right it was racial tension. They had the guys outnumbered probably 100 to 1. Why would the system even set somebody up like that? Not saying that Lee Taylor deserved any break after what he did to that old man. I'm not saying that. But why in the hell would they have 2 white men in there with only other blacks and Mexicans? It was a setup. They wanted to get them. We don't know why. Okay, let's see the rest here. I'm sorry. It says a jury convicted Taylor of capital murder in February 2000 and sentenced him to death. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals affirmed that the conviction and sentence in December 2002, it was final. All of his appeals were denied. At the time of the killing, Daniel Richburg was serving a 12-year sentence for burglary of a building. He was convicted of murder in Green's case and was given a 48-year sentence. If he serves his term to completion, he'll be out when he's 80. On a website operated by the opponents of the death penalty, Taylor admitted killing Green, but stated that the killing was done in self-defense. On April 1st, 1999, I fought off 8 black men with a knife, he wrote, defending myself against 8 men older and stronger, fighting for my life against a premeditated attack. He said I defended myself, and in the result, 1 died. So see, Lee Taylor's story from the whole time was not the robbery, not anything else, that 8 guys were trying to get him. And that's the thing, we don't know what really happened. Okay. It said Taylor began his last statement at his execution by protesting the death penalty. There are 300 people on death row, and not every one of them is a monster. The state of Texas is carrying out a very inhumane and unjust situation. It's not right to kill anybody like I did, and it's not right to kill me like y'all are doing. That's what he said. When he was about to die, he looked at the victim's family and said, for all you people, I defended myself when I killed your family member. Prison is a bad place. I didn't set out to kill him. but he have not been in any prison if he wasn't a saint. I hope y'all understand that. While Taylor continued talking to the victim's family, the lethal injection started. As the drug was taking effect, he said, "I'm ready to teleport." It was his last words, man. "I'm ready to teleport." Wow. Okay, here's something else I wanted to see here too. Let me see. Yeah, because there's a lot of it, man. Let's see some more. Hold on, I'm sorry. Here it goes here. Classification: murderer. Characteristics: member of the ABT. Revenge. Victim 1. Happened April 1st, 1999. Dante Green, 22, was murdered, stabbed with an 8-inch weapon. That's what happened, man. Let's see. When Taylor asked for his final meal, here we go. This is what I wanted to do. When he asked for his final meal, when Texas used to give them to people, they let you have anything you wanted. Taylor asked for a medium cheese with pizza, beef, black olives, and mushroom. 4 soft tacos, a large bowl of fried okra, and a pint of ice cream. And then they killed him, man. So that's what happened. Like, I don't even know how to summarize or wrap this story up. 1, don't rob nobody. 2, you're gonna have anything else that can come with it. You know what I mean? That's the real story. Don't rob anybody, kids. Work for what you want. Go get it out in this life. And you know, Lee Taylor, yeah, it just is what it is, man. R.I.P. Salute, I guess.